Well, I'm definitely a recycler. As you go around through this house and our property, I've got tables made out of spools. I've got my mantle back here is an old log cabin. I had a gal call me the first year that I started this, and she goes, "Sir, I want to know," she left a message on the machine, goes, "Where will you be displaying your art?" And I told her, I said, "Ma'am, I'm a gym teacher, I'm not an artist, and I don't consider this to be art. The wood kind of takes care of it on its own. It tells the story of what it is. I'm just kind of a puzzle putter together." During the Clinton administration, they recycled, they were actually auctioning the buildings off to the public. It was part of their program for not to end up in landfills. So what happened is they run a public auction during a war, which means it was extremely difficult to get on post. You had to have a lot of security clearance, a lot of credentials to get on. Greg, the gentleman that I got the wood from, had just retired from there. In my understanding, 3 guys showed up for 12 buildings and had to have them all torn down in 30 days. So here he's got all this hardwood flooring, he's got rafters, he's got everything that he tore these buildings down. They were stacked up at his house. And so he started selling the hardwood floor relatively cheap, and I bought some for my office. Well, I brought it home, did what Greg told me to do, took the nails out, planed it, tore the carpet out, tore the carpet pad up, put all the furniture in our bedroom, brought some lumber upstairs to start installing it, and we couldn't get the boards to go together. It took 2.5 months to finish what should have taken a weekend. And that's when the wood kind of got put off to the side, and we really didn't do a whole lot with it. So we're in the patio store walking out, and we were on our way, we were leaving actually. And my son looks over and says, "Dad, that looks like wood." And when I looked over to the side, sure enough, it was a primitive looking flag, American flag, made to look like wood. They had gone to the trouble to acrylically paint wood grain on it. So the wheels kind of got to turn, and I thought, well, you know, I've got the wood out in the storage building, let's knock some out. I think I ended up making around 70 flags. I got invited to a craft show here in Scottsville, and I didn't know how I was going to do it. And took 70 flags. They opened the doors at 8. I was done by 9:30. The one thing that really makes these flags unique is that once they're gone, they're gone. They've got one barrack left, and they just moved it into the Patton historical area, and they're going to restore it because it's the only one left of its kind from World War II. The wood bears its use. The wood will show you where it was, what purpose it served in the floor. You know, soldiers from World War II that fought under Patton walked on this floor, and that's when I get cold chills. Guys that went to Korea and Vietnam, some didn't come home, they walked on this. This is historical wood for people who were soldiers, people that served our country. Some of the wood bears the marks of what it was used for. There's some yellow stripes on them. The yellow stripe dates back to World War II. At the time, you were asked to stand on a line. They called it the tow line. I've actually had people pick this up. I'll show them a strip of the wood. They'll lay it on the floor and actually show you how they were supposed to have stood. I mean, in a craft show. After they were done as basic training barracks, they got kind of ratty, so they declassified the buildings as processing. And so what happened is when the recruits got off the bus, they said, get on that white line, do what they tell you in that building, go to the next building, get on that white line, and stay on that white line. So if you see one that has a piece of white paint on it that actually looks like a strip, I didn't put that on there, the government did. That was the processing line during Korea and Vietnam. So there's a tremendous amount of history in this stuff. We have 4 basic sizes you'll see. The mother lode of all of them are the 43s. That's a 50 star, they have 11 stripes. The next size down is what I call a mantle size flag. If you ever go to a craft show and hang out behind me, that is probably the biggest thing these guys, I probably walked on those floors, I probably waxed them too. They used, 99% of the guys that I've spoke to, Simonized car wax. They used wax, and in the early days, they used to use baby diapers and blankets. They would put a guy on a wool blanket and they would pull him around and that would wax the floor. That was World War II stories, all right? So that's how they waxed it. So what I do to prepare the wood to make flags with it, I just run it through and take off the grime and I take off the wax and leave all the other nuances in the wood as it comes. So that's where you get the character. I've had people at craft shows ask me about the significance of the stars. I just try to cram as many in that keeps it proportionate to what would look like a flag of that size. You have to realize you're locked into 2¼ inches tall, so the more you go up, the more you have to go out, and the more that you go out, the more stars you have to start adding. So there's a little bit of math and some proportion that works in there, but putting the stars on, I use the same star pattern, but the biggest of the big, the largest, it's usually around a 42, 43-inch flag by 24, 25 inches tall. They actually have 50 stars on them. What we put on the back is a small little saying of where the wood came from. That's got the gentleman's name that tore it down. So there's a small little authentication sticker on the back, and because these are limited, they're all signed and numbered by me. We did an original 750 run, and the guy who sold it to me didn't tell me he actually gave me more than, so I ended up with some extras. So we're actually on a second run. We're up to a little right around 700 on this, and we're just going to keep going until the wood's gone. I mean, you could not find a better purpose for reclaimed flooring considering where it came from. People that served your country walked on this stuff. And I don't know if I was chosen, but it just feels right.